Hey y'all, it's Anime Kid-Man. Today I'm going to be reviewing the first episode of One Punch Man Season 2. And now, to get it out of the way, I gotta say, while the animation isn't top-notch, like the animation quality we saw in One Punch Man Season 1, it's not even close to touching the animation quality of One Punch Man Episode 1. Gotta say, at the very least, the animation, it's good. It's good. It's not bad, at the very least, because there's at least emotion in the action sequences, and there wasn't even a single sequence where there was a still shot. Now, obviously there's a noticeable dip in animation quality though, because there is the usage of at times, say, colored backgrounds or speed lines where you don't get to see what's going on in the backgrounds, while in One Punch Man Season 1 that was never an issue. So you do see some animation shortcuts here and there, but for the most part, the animation is competently produced, I gotta say. So, I gotta give him credit for that, because the sequences where, say, Genos was fighting against this machine and then he uses a fire extinguisher looked good. And I thought the laser beams were pretty good. And for the most part, anything metallic in this episode looked pretty nice and rendered. So, gotta give the credit episode for that. And, aside from that, out of the way, I'd say the art was also pretty decent. Not as good as Season 1's art, but it gets the job done. But there was a good art shot near the end where this man had like this smiling face at the end. So there was some good art shots here and there in the episode. Now, to get that out of the way, the content in the episode itself was pretty darn good, I gotta say. There was a large amount of humor, and it had a nice plot explanation as to why Saitama doesn't get a lot of glory, because usually when he takes down creatures, King just happens to be there and he kind of takes the whole glory, and he kind of lies and all that in order to like get his hero ranking. And I like how during the episode you see like his heart beating super fast as he tries to find a way to get himself out of a situation, because he doesn't want to fight this robot, because King himself is not strong. He's actually pretty weak. And then just to see him go into his house, play video games, and then you just see Saitama show up randomly in his house was hilarious. And then when he finally gets exposed for being kind of like a fraud, I do like how at the end it makes it seem like Saitama would be pissed on him, but instead he's all like, well, just train to be a legitimate hero so that you don't have to lie anymore, and that just got me laughing. So I'd say from a story standpoint, the jokes in this series still hit pretty strong, and they hit pretty well. Now, I'd say aside from that, I also like how this episode made this little joke where he buys this romance game with this cute character style, and then you have King with the serious ass face, and then when Saitama finds out, and then King's trying to pretend he bought the wrong game. That was also fucking hilarious too. So this episode does have well placed jokes here and there. And then also the joke where Saitama's not good at video games, and he just smashes the controller at the end was pretty funny. So there was good jokes spread around throughout this episode. And the joke with Saitama pressing on his controller when he's not getting a single boost was hilarious, for the reason being that Saitama's epic as so when it comes to physical activities, but when it comes to things like gaming or exams, he's not as good, and I like that. It leads to some hilarious situations, so that's why I thought the episode has some good humor. It also builds up tension for future episodes, and it raises the stakes, because they mentioned like in 6 months there's gonna be some kind of epic level threat. So I like that too, showing off that the writing staff, they're not just writing jokes, they're also keeping in mind the overall narrative too, and I like that. Should lead to some cool action sequences. And I'd say the King moments where he finally is exposed to be a fraud were pretty nice. And how Saitama pretty much let him go off scot-free, just give him a tip to like train hard so that he can actually be what he's hyped up to be. So I kind of like the end of the episode too, and hopefully it could lead to some training arc for King. Thought he was a really funny character, and then it was cool to find out that he was actually saved by Saitama multiple times. That was also pretty sweet. And I'd say, while it does justify the reason. Well, it does somewhat justify why Saitama doesn't get a lot of credit. You would think, though, like with the amount of tech they have, they would have like nanobots to observe it when someone takes down a giant creature, because it doesn't explain why they didn't give Saitama any credit for taking out that giants in one of the first few episodes of One Punch Man. It doesn't justify that completely, but you know, every anime has their flaw, and this anime is still entertaining as fuck. So, at the very least, you can see the writers at least tried to justify why Saitama doesn't have a lot of credit yet. So that was also another positive about this episode. You see efforts from the writing staff, and that's why I thought this episode was good. You have comedy, you raise the stakes. Genos finally gets a fucking win on his own. And that's why I thought this episode was 8.5 out of 10 worthy. I thought it was a pretty darn good way to start the season. So anyways, guys and gals, these are my thoughts on One Punch Man Season 2, Episode 1. Comment down your thoughts on the episode in the comment section below. Rate the video, subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Subscribe for more, because I'm definitely pumped up for Episode 2, alright? Bye-bye, everyone.